What angle in quadrant 2 equals negative radical 2 over 2? What's the reference angle? See, I knew this was going to happen because it's the first day. And that's okay. But you got to get all this stuff back in your head. What's the angle that has radical 2 over 2 for cosine? For sine, it's actually the same thing. What's the angle for radical 2 over 2 for sines and cosines? 45, right? Now, is the answer to this 45 degrees? No, because look. When you do these, when you say sine of y equals this, you got to put the quadrant there. So what's the angle in the second quadrant that equals negative radical 2 over 2? So you're forgetting things we did before. You got to. This is why I gave you that chart. Now you got to start. Part of your homework all week is start getting familiar with all these angles again. What's the angle in the second quadrant? Look. What's the angle right here? That's 45 degrees away. See what I'm asking you? What's the angle? The reference angle is 45. Well, what is that angle in the second quadrant? Oh, man, this is not a real hard question. 135 degrees, right? 135 degrees. Or, what if it said give it in radians? Now look on your paper if you have to. That's why I gave you this right now. What is it in radians, Joe?
3 pi over 4.
Boys, 45 degree increments is always something over 4. Watch this. Y equals, I only have a few things left to show you here, and then I'll show you what the worksheet's going to look like. Arc cosine of 1, write that down. Right next to that, put y equals inverse sine of negative 1. And then down here, y equals arc sine of negative radical 3 over 2. There. All right, that's going to finish what I want to do. Now, this is what the problems are going to look like on your iPad. What did I say is the first thing you have to write down? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? There's the definitions. You got to know how to start. You have to write it down. People, look. This means sine of y is 1/2. This means cosine of y is negative radical 2 over 2. Every problem is going to have a different value. So what does this mean? Man, what's the matter? This ain't a hard question. You gotta put that first step on the paper. Chris.
Cosine of y equals 1.
Cosine of y equals 1. What's this mean? Your first step in every problem is going to be the same thing. You're writing down, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? What's this mean? Howard.
Sine of y equals -1.
What's this mean? Come on. You should have, Rob.
Sine of y equals negative radical 3 over 2.
Whenever it's inverse cosine, like this, I'm giving you the best way to learn this. Whenever it's inverse cosine, what's the range where the answers could be? Only there. Only there. When it's inverse sine, the answers can only be only there. That's a 1 and a -1. Boys, what kind of an angle must it be when the answers are just 1s or -1s, or 0s for that matter? What kind of angles are those? You guys should know all of these answers on math. It's all stuff you've done. When you have sines or cosines that equal 1s or -1s or 0s or even undefined, where are those answers?
Reference angles.
No, Andrew. knew this was gonna happen, because you are forgetting the stuff with special angles. The cosine of what angle equals a 1? People, look, it can only be from here to here. The cosine of what angle equals a 1? Man. Nick,
0.
this, whenever it's ones, negative ones, or zeros, isn't that the unit circle? You know, 1 comma 0, 0 comma 1, negative 1 comma 0, 0 comma negative 1. You've seen it many times. So when you have sine or cosine equal to ones or negative ones, it's a quadrant angle. Y equals 0 degrees. You're done. Look at all you're doing in the homework when I give it to you here. You're going to tell me what it means, and then you're just going to give me the answer. That's all the homework's going to be. And they're all going to be special angles. Here, look at this. Sine of y equals negative 1. Now here's where you got to pay attention. Pay attention. Where's the only place answers could be for inverse sine? Right here. Look. Let's see if somebody falls for this. The answer has to be in that range right there. The sine of what angle equals a negative 1? Let's see what somebody tells me. The sine of what angle equals negative 1? Jimmy. Okay, I knew you were going to say that. Okay, that's wrong. No offense. Just listen to me. He said 270. You know where 270 is? That's 270, isn't it? Everyone, just look what I'm saying. That's 270. The answer has to be only in that range. So you don't want 270. You want just that. Do you see what I'm saying? What is that? See, if you go 270, you're going out of the range. The range, the answer always has to be right here for inverse sine. Nathan. Negative 90. Do you understand that negative 90 degrees is in the same spot as 270? Right? Coterminal angles. So you would go over here. You'd say y equals negative 90 degrees, or what would be that answer if the direction said give the answers in radians? What's negative 90 in radians? Nick?
Negative 5 over 2.
All right, hold on. I got one more to do here. Who has a question? You've got to have this down pat today. The rest of the week will make 0 sense. All I'm showing you today is inverse sine and inverse cosine. Yes?
The first example we did, would that be 0 degrees or 2 pi?
No.
No.
You mean if it was radians?
Yeah.
It'd still be 0.
Okay.
0 radians, 0 degrees. There's no pi because it's 0. Okay, what quadrant? Now, do you notice I didn't put a quadrant here? It wasn't in a quadrant, was it? It was on the quadrant angle. Okay, the sine of what angle equals negative radical 3 over 2? Where's the answer? Can't be 1. Fellas, look, because I'm going to summarize here. The whole key to today's class is when you write the answer down, it has to be in the range. So for inverse sine, it's either 1 or 4. So let me clarify something. If it's in 4, won't the answer always be negative something if it's in 4? That's an easy way to remember it. What quadrant is this going to be in? Ethan.
Quadrant 4.
Quadrant 4. So you're in the 4th quadrant, down here somewhere in the 4th quadrant. What's the reference angle for radical, the sine of what angle? What's the reference angle that has a value of radical 3 over 2? What is that angle? This is rough. We're forgetting special angles. Inverses. Jimmy, 60. Isn't the sine of 60 radical 3 over 2? Now the answer to that problem is not 60 degrees. What's the answer? 4th quadrant. 4th quadrant. The answer's not 60 degrees.
All right,
It's in the fourth quadrant, so you gotta go the other way. So the answer's not 60 degrees, it's
-6.
negative 60 degrees. Look, I'm gonna make this easy for you. Whenever you do an inverse sine problem, if the answer's in the fourth quadrant, it's always gonna be a negative angle. It's the only, look. It's gotta be negative if it's in the fourth. Or, what's negative 60 in terms of radians? Gotta know them both ways. Andrew. Negative pi over 3. All right, now look. Take your iPads out. Take your iPads out. Fellas, I'm just going to say this and be blunt about it. If you don't get what I do today and tomorrow, forget it. You're going to be lost in space. If you need some extra help from me, I can help you. But go to eBackpack in the third quarter folder. We're in a new folder now. Go to eBackpack in the third quarter folder. I think there's only one thing in there. It's worksheet number 1. Worksheet number 1. Hold on here. You're not doing all that. All right, now if you want to take a picture of that. All right, David, you're done.